Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's lesson. Let's have a look at our learning objective. It is to create an illustration. We have been doing this for 3 weeks now. So every Tuesdays, after we've looked at our extract and we've had our discussion and made our inferences and predictions, we then move on to the illustration. This text has already shown you the illustration of the scene, whereas previously the last 2 extracts did not show you any sort of illustrations. So this one, when you create an illustration, it will be a slightly different task. But before we start, let's have a look at our success criteria for today's lesson. Number 1. I can use my imagination and the text to support my illustration. Number 2, I can use my 5 senses to create an illustration. Just to recap, do we all know our senses? So there are 5. You do not have to use all 5. As long as you use at least 3 to help you create the image and illustration, then you should be fine. Just to recap the 5 senses, it's what you can see, what you can maybe hear during the text, what you think you can taste, what you can smell, and what you can see, I think. Okay, let's now move on. I know this text is a bit blurry to read, therefore I will read it out to you and you can then refer back to it and always listen to me reading, and then you can complete the task or any discussions. Or what you can try and do is maybe take a screenshot and try and zoom in. You should be able to see the text, but it might slightly be blurry. So let's reread the description of the scene. Dusk fell. Back at Granny's house, Lennox took Gregory up the hill to watch the moon rise. Gregory kicked off his trainers. He wanted to be barefoot too. Below them, the lights came on one by one in the small wooden houses. People called to each other. Music played on a radio, and someone started to sing. Insects whirred, dogs barked, and a donkey brayed. Look at the candle flies, said Lennox and Gregory. And Gregory noticed tiny lights moving all around them. So you can pause this video and try and read this description by yourself, or you can just listen to my recording. If you would like to read it again, I have cropped the picture out and I've just focused on the text. I hope this helps, and I am sorry that it is slightly blurry. Okay, now moving on, it's time for our class discussion through the recorded lesson. So what happens is I will read out the question. I'd like you to pause the video and have a think about the answers. Remember, there are no right or wrong answers. It's based on your opinion, and you just need to justify your answers using evidence from the text. Let's have a look at our first question for today. From our perspective, we are focused on Lennox and Gregory, but what do you think it is like down where the houses are? So as far as we can see, our perspective, that means we're focusing on these 2 boys and the text here. But now I want you to think about, what are the people doing in the houses below? Okay, what do you think it's like there? Okay, so pause the video, write down your answers, please, and then we can move on. Let's just have a small discussion. So we can see in the text that it says that they are small wooden houses. And it's also mentioned that the lights came on one by one. Do you think that there was a timer set and the lights only come out when the moon comes out? Are they able to turn their lights on during the day whenever they need to? Or does it only come on during a specific time of the day. What type of light do you think they are? Do they have electricity like us, like we do in our houses and in school? Or do you think they're lanterns maybe? Or do you think they're lighting up candles? Okay. Next question. You need to circle, underline, or note the words and phrases used that help you to picture the scene down in the valley below. Just in the previous slide, I went through a few examples already, and they were the words and phrases used in the extract itself to help picture the scene. There are different answers, there's more than one, so you can just make a note of them in your literacy books. Okay, once you pick out the words and phrases, I'd like you then to explain why it helped you picture the scene. So I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at the task. Once you're done, I'd like you to play the video and continue today's lesson. Now, I want you to think, what are people doing and how do you think they feel? So it could be about the boys, it could be about the people in the houses down below. Okay, so just think about, what are they doing? Do you think their lives will be different to our lives? Do you think that they may feel the same way as the boys? Do you think it's very peaceful there? What do you think? Okay, your answers will all be different, and that is perfectly fine. So I'd like to see what you think the people are doing. So please send your work through to me on Class Dojo and I will have a look at them. Okay, what are the houses like down there? So we know that in the text it says that they are small wooden houses, but what do you think they look like? Do you think they look similar to the houses that we have in Barking? So if you come to school, do you see all the houses in a line? What type of houses are they? Are they individual? Are they by themselves? Do you think that in order to go to the neighbors' houses from here to here, how much they travel? What do they have to do? What do you think happens in case of an emergency? And then it asks you, what creatures were mentioned and what are they doing? This question then relates to our final task. So I'd like you to think carefully about the last two questions here. Read the text, find out what creatures are mentioned in the text, and then you'll have a research-based lesson as well. I wouldn't like to go through the answers because we've got a task for you. Well, I've got a task for you about the creatures that are mentioned in the extract. So let's have a look now. What you can do is you can research about the insects today, but I think it is in tomorrow's lesson. You can find out where these creatures are found. If not, just focus on today's lesson. It's about drawing an illustration. So let's have a look. The main activity for today, you can reread the extract before you start, or you can listen to me reading it out again because this picture is far too small for you to see clearly. Then I'd like you to picture the scene in your imagination. Then when you have a clear image that you can hold in your mind, take a pencil and a piece of paper and sketch the scene you pictured. If you don't have paper to hand, use the back of an old letter, envelope, or even a cereal box. But you should all have your literacy books in front of you. If you have any colouring pencils or felt tips or watercolour paints, think about how you might use the colour to bring the scene to life, as Caroline Binch has done here. So you can use this as a reference but yours may look similar or totally different. That is perfectly fine. I shall see you for tomorrow's lesson, and I'm looking forward to seeing all your illustrations. Thank you.